So you're ready to take your love of glass art to the next level, huh?
It's more than just a passing fancy now. You're thinking, this could be my career.
And you wouldn't be alone. We're seeing more and more people drawn to the magic of glass art. But, like with any art form, turning passion into a profession takes, well, a little more than magic.
That's where RoleCatcher comes in.
Exactly. They've got this incredible platform that's all about helping aspiring artists like yourselves navigate the, shall we say, the less glamorous side of pursuing an art career. They don't sugarcoat it. They give it to you straight.
They're not afraid to say, look, it's not all going to be rainbows and blown glass unicorns.
Speaking of blown glass unicorns, when we say glass artist, what exactly are we talking about here? What does that actually look like day to day?
Right, it's easy to get caught up in those dazzling museum displays, but what does it take to actually get your work displayed like that?
Okay, so let's break it down. What are some of the things a glass artist might find themselves doing on any given day? I mean, it's more than just shaping molten glass, right?
Oh, so much more. You've got your classic glass blowing, of course. Think fiery furnaces shaping molten glass with your breath. It's as mesmerizing as it sounds. But you've also got stained glass.
Ah, stained glass. Now that's a whole other world.
It really is. Imagine painstakingly piecing together hundreds of tiny pieces of colored glass to create these intricate designs, these stories told in light and color.
Wow, and that actually made me think of something RoleCatcher mentioned. It's not just about creating new pieces, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole world of restoration work out there, especially for those with a passion for history and architecture.
You're right. You could find yourself restoring a stained glass window in a centuries-old cathedral one day, and then the next you're in your studio sketching out designs for a modern art installation.
So it's like being an artist, an architect, a historian, and a craftsperson all rolled into one.
Exactly. And let's not forget, a business person.
Ah, yes, the business side of art. That's something RoleCatcher really emphasizes, and I think it's where a lot of aspiring artists might stumble if they're not prepared.
Hmm.
What are some of the business aspects that glass artists need to be aware of?
Well, for starters, it's a very entrepreneurial field. You're often your own boss, which is great in terms of creative freedom, but it also means you're responsible for everything.
Everything, like what?
We're talking finding clients, marketing your work, pricing your pieces, managing your finances, maybe even building a website or an online shop. It's about blending that artistic vision with some serious business savvy.
So you're saying it takes a certain type of person to thrive in this environment.
Hmm.
What personality traits or skills does RoleCatcher highlight as being crucial for success as a glass artist?
They actually have a whole section on that. Passion and dedication are non-negotiables for sure. But you also need resilience. The art world is competitive, rejections are part of the game, and income can fluctuate. You might go through periods of feast or famine, so to speak.
That's good to know. It's all about finding that balance between following your artistic dreams and being realistic about the challenges.
Exactly.
But let's say someone is hearing this and thinking, bring it on. I'm ready for the heat, the hustle, the whole 9 yards. What would you say is the most crucial thing for them to focus on first?
Hands down, building your skill set. You could have the most incredible, groundbreaking ideas for glass art. But if you lack the technical mastery to execute those ideas, they'll remain just that, ideas.
Right. It's like having a symphony stuck in your head, but not knowing how to play a single instrument. So how do you even begin to develop the skills needed to become a glass artist? Where do you even start? Right? It's like having a symphony stuck in your head, but not knowing how to play a single instrument. So how do you even begin to develop the skills needed to become a glass artist? Where do you even start?
Well, RoleCatcher really emphasizes the importance of hands-on experience. It's one thing to read about glass blowing or watch videos online.
Right, you can't exactly learn to handle molten glass through a screen.
Exactly. They highly recommend seeking out local studios or workshops where you can actually get your hands dirty, so to speak.
So are we talking apprenticeships here?
Hmm.
Like the old school learn from a master kind of thing?
Exactly. There's still very much a thing in the glass art world. RoleCatcher actually features a bunch of profiles of successful glass artists, and many of them got their start as apprentices.
That's so cool. So you're not just learning the techniques, you're also soaking up the culture, the unspoken wisdom of the craft.
Absolutely. And let's be real, those mentors can be invaluable when it comes to navigating the business side of things, too.
Oh, right, because we were just talking about how competitive the art world can be.
Yeah.
So it's not enough to just be good at what you do.
Yeah.
You also need to know how to market yourself, build a network, all that jazz.
Exactly. And that's something else RoleCatcher dives into, the importance of building a strong online presence.
Because in this day and age, if you're not online, you practically don't exist, right?
Pretty much. They talk about having a website or an online portfolio where you can showcase your work, using social media to connect with other artists and potential clients.
So it's like a whole other skill set you need to develop
Yeah.
alongside your actual glass blowing or stained glass skills.
It is. But the good news is there are tons of resources out there to help you with that. RoleCatcher actually has a whole section on building your online brand with tips on photography, writing, even social media marketing.
That's amazing. So they've really thought of everything.
They really have. They even have this AI-powered interview practice tool.
Wait, hold up. An AI interview practice tool for artists.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, actually. You basically answer common interview questions, and the AI analyzes your responses, gives you feedback on your delivery, even suggests ways to improve your answers.
That's wild. Okay, so let's say you've been honing your skills, building your portfolio, even practicing your interview schools with this fancy AI tool. You finally land that interview for a glass art position. What can you expect in that kind of interview? Is it like any other job interview, or does the art world have its own set of rules?
It's definitely a different beast.
Yeah.
You'll want to showcase your technical skills and experience, but passion is key here. RoleCatcher stresses the importance of being able to articulate your artistic vision, your inspirations, what drives you to create with glass.
So they're not just looking for someone who can, like, flawlessly execute a glass-blowing technique.
Yeah.
They want to see the heart, the soul behind the art.
Exactly. Be prepared to talk about your influences, your creative process, what you hope to achieve with your art.
What about those curveball questions? You know, the ones that throw you off guard and make you think on your feet?
Right.
RoleCatcher must have some intel on that.
Oh, absolutely. They give a few examples of questions they've seen pop up, like, how do you approach a new piece from concept to creation? Or, tell me about a time you failed with a glass piece. What did you learn from it?
Ooh, that's a good one. Because even the most experienced glass artists have those moments where the glass cracks or the design doesn't quite work out as planned, right?
Exactly. It's part of the artistic process.
Hmm.
And speaking of process, RoleCatcher provides a fascinating overview of typical career progression in glass artistry.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just a free-for-all. There's like a structured path you can take.
It's not always linear, but it helps to have a roadmap, right?
It's not always linear, but it helps have a roadmap, right?
Right, like knowing those milestones you can aim for. RoleCatcher talks about these different stages, entry-level, junior artist, senior artist. They break down what each stage typically looks like in the real world. It's pretty cool.
Okay, so let's break it down. Entry level, that's where everyone starts.
Right.
You're fresh out of the metaphorical glass-blowing oven, eager to make your mark. What does that actually look like in terms of day-to-day work?
Well, you're not going to be heading up any big gallery exhibitions just yet. At the entry level, it's really about soaking everything up like a sponge.
So lots of learning, lots of assisting.
Exactly. You're going to be assisting more experienced artists, learning the ropes, mastering those fundamental techniques. It might involve things like prepping materials, cleaning the studio, maybe even helping with installations.
It's about paying your dues, but in a way that actively contributes to the creation of art. I like that. It reminds me of those old apprentice-master relationships you hear about, where the student learns by being immersed in the craft.
Yeah, exactly. And RoleCatcher emphasizes that this is where you start to specialize. Do you gravitate towards the precision and detail of stained glass?
Or are you drawn to the more free-flowing, experimental nature of glassblowing? So it's about finding your niche, your passion, within the broader world of glass art.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've mastered the basics. You're starting to find your footing. What does the transition to junior artist look like?
Yeah.
What changes?
Well, that's where you get to spread your creative wings a bit more.
You mean more freedom?
Yeah. You're taking on more responsibility, maybe even managing your own small projects. You might be assisting on larger installations, designing and creating your own pieces, perhaps even starting to exhibit your work in galleries or craft fairs.
It's like going from playing scales to composing your own music.
Yeah.
You're taking those foundational skills and turning them into something uniquely you. What are some examples of projects a junior artist might tackle?
It could be anything from creating custom glassware for a restaurant to designing and fabricating a series of blown glass sculptures for a gallery exhibition. I was looking through RoleCatcher's sample profiles, and they had one from a junior artist who specialized in creating these beautiful, intricate glass terrariums.
Glass terrariums, that's so cool. It's amazing how glass art can be both beautiful and functional. But let's not forget about the ultimate goal for many aspiring glass artists, reaching that senior artist level. What does it take to really climb that glass ladder, so to speak?
It's a culmination of experience, skill, and reputation. At this stage, you're not just making art. You're often leading teams, managing complex projects, maybe even mentoring younger artists. You've built a name for yourself, and you're sought after for your expertise.
So it's about more than just technical mastery at this point. You're a leader, a mentor, a business person, the whole package. What kind of projects would a senior artist typically be involved in?
Think large-scale installations, public art commissions, collaborations with architects or interior designers. They might be restoring a historic stained glass window in a cathedral one day and designing a modern glass sculpture for a museum the next. RoleCatcher highlighted an example of a senior artist who specializes in creating custom glass lighting fixtures for high-end hotels and restaurants.
Talk about a niche market. That's incredible. And I imagine the level of detail and craftsmanship involved in those kinds of projects is just extraordinary.
Absolutely. But it's not just about the technical skill. It's also about vision, leadership, and the ability to execute those grand ideas. Senior artists often have to manage budgets, meet deadlines, and collaborate with a whole team of people.
So you're not just an artist anymore. You're an entrepreneur, a project manager, an artist, all rolled into one.
Precisely. And that's something RoleCatcher emphasizes throughout their guide, the importance of developing those business and leadership skills alongside your artistic talents.
That's so valuable for anyone considering this career path. It's one thing to be passionate about glass art, but it's another thing to understand the business side, the marketing, the networking, all those essential elements that contribute to a successful career.
Absolutely. And it's never too early to start thinking about those things. Even if you're just starting out, building a strong online presence, connecting with other artists, attending workshops and conferences, these are all investments in your future as a glass artist.
It's like building a house. You need a strong foundation to support those soaring stained glass windows and intricate blown glass details.
That's a great analogy.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of glass art, what would be your final piece of advice for aspiring glass artists? Something they can carry with them as they embark on this journey.
I think it's important to remember that glass art, like any art form, is a journey of self-discovery. It's about more than just mastering the techniques. It's about finding your own voice, your own style, your own unique way of expressing yourself through this incredible medium. Don't be afraid to experiment, to take risks, to make mistakes. That's how you learn and grow as an artist. And who knows, you might even surprise yourself with what you create.
That's fantastic advice. So to all our listeners out there who are feeling inspired, remember, the world of glass art is vast and incredibly rewarding. Don't be afraid to dive in, get your hands dirty, and see what amazing things you can create.
Here.
And a huge thank you to RoleCatcher for providing such a comprehensive and insightful guide to navigating the world of glass art. Be sure to check out their platform for more information, resources, and inspiration. That's all the time we have for today, but we'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating career path. Until then, keep those creative sparks flying.